Good morning, Johanna.
Hello.
We are live on our season 2 premiere, and I have to say, I'm tired. I think it was you who said it to me last night, or was it last night? I can't even remember now. You're like, isn't it ironic that we wanted to have, we went from an evening show to wanting to have it in the morning for like commuting. And now with everything going on in the world, is anybody going to be up?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that last night. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, now is the time to do the late night show because ain't nobody got to go to work tomorrow. Or if they do, they're doing it from their home in their pajamas with their eyes half closed.
Yeah. And that's the first thing I realized. I was like, I'm like, this might be a learning curve for us, but we already have guests lined up for the first month. So we'll trial by error and see how this goes.
Right.
We do have a couple of international guests, so that's it's going to actually work out for a favor, and everyone obviously can get the replays and so forth. But I thought it was ironic when you had said that, and I said, you know what, she's right. Why are we doing the morning show? And I'm an hour behind now, so it seemed like a really great idea. And you know how like you're really gung ho about something, you're like, yeah, I'll get up early. I'll do this.
Let me tell you, I don't get up early. I am a night owl.
Yeah.
Spirit works best with me late at night or overnight even. And so and now that my child is not having to get up and go to school at 7:00 in the morning, I allow myself to naturally wake up at whenever time. So it's normally 7 or 7:30, but this morning Spirit had me up before 5:00 and I was like, yeah, I don't think I like this.
Yeah.
It's not my jam.
No, I feel like every time I try to make a plan to do something, because I'm task oriented. So I need to I got a schedule. I'm a project manager in my day job and in my life. So I'm used to like scheduling. And the first thing I noticed was I try to schedule something in my own life. It's a cluster. So last night I was like, I'm going to bed early. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to have everything done planned. You know what happened to me? You
were up really late.
Yeah.
I
ended up getting a video game. Well, first of all, I was complaining that this whole episode is about overcoming boredom, right? And I was complaining that like I feel like in the video game land, things have gotten super quiet in gaming, meaning like there's not a lot of new games out. And I'm like, everything I'm playing is mediocre. Like I need something more. So anyway, I downloaded a game. And as it was downloading, I was like, all right, I'm going to play a little bit and then I'm going to go to bed early. And that was my intention. But what happened is while I was waiting for it to download, I fell asleep holding the controller.
Nice.
So I took a nap for like, I say 2.5 hours. And then I woke up.
Holy crap.
Yes. And so then I woke up around like 11. And then I'm like, I want to play this video game. So then I had to... Because this is where my priorities are.
Your inner child was having a great time last night.
So anyway, then I couldn't sleep because then I had to get up, early. So I had to get up because I still do my regular routines and stuff. So I have to meditate and do all that. So I got up at 4:00 this morning and I'm feeling a little bit comboggled, if anything. But anyway, we were talking about overcoming boredom because everything that's going on in the world right now, especially with self-isolation, is what does boredom mean? And, and we were trying to think of, with our first episode to ease it in before we got into our guests and so forth. And one of the things that Johanna and I love to do very much is just to banter and to chit chat about everyday life. And
I mean, we could probably have a TV show if you guys really listen to our conversations. You'd be quite entertained.
And I thought of you when we were thinking of boredom. I thought of you because there was a there was a video that I saw, and it's like I'm so into like anything that is spoof or funny about isolation right now. And listen, it's not that I'm taking anything lightly, because yeah, it sucks for a lot of people who are in quarantine, and not saying that not anyone's going through a hard time, but laughter to me has always been the best medicine. So I told you that I refused to go on specific platforms because I was like, I don't have time for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one platform I told you I would not go on is TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And last night I ended up on TikTok. And I wasn't even on it. Like I don't even have an account, but I was just doing this whole scrolling thing.
Please tell me you looked at the video I posted on my profile
that's
page.
what got me started.
That video was so fun. I tell you, I watched that thing probably 30 times and just died laughing every damn time. We should like put it up on this camera
I don't
screen.
remember exactly what it was on there, but it was a girl dancing.
Snacking.
Oh yeah, it was something regarding
Pringles, ramen. I was dying. She got so into it.
Yeah. So that's what happens. It's like the scrolling thing, right? You start scrolling and so that's what I was doing. And the next thing I know, I'm like, did I just spend 2 hours on TikTok? I was really like, so I didn't sleep last night between that video gaming and TikTok, that I don't even like what happened. How did this derail so quickly?
I was anti-TikTok for so long because my husband was on it and he was like doing all these little videos, and I was like, I just can't do it. It's such a waste of my time. And it really, there's a time and a place for it. So I ended up downloading it, and now I only open it when I am done for the day and I am in relax mode, because you will get trapped in this loop of, I have to watch this 20 more times.
Well, I still don't have an account, but I was actually pleasantly surprised that you could still peruse stuff and just be like going down the scrolling thing, kind of how you go in there.
Yeah.
But it does go well with boredom right now on there, because what are we doing with boredom? What does it mean? And that was one of the things that like I was looking at, is like, what is happening is that we're being so, especially in isolation, is that we can't do specific things that a lot of us are used to do as part of our routine. So now things are being dwindled. So now we got to find new things to be within our routine. And what's happening is it's getting a lot of like, people are getting mundane, or it just seems very old because they're doing the same repetitive stuff over and over again, and it's not stimulating them. So that's why one of the reasons we wanted to do this episode. And when I started going in there, I'm like, well, I like to look up information as like, where's the origins of boredom? So here's the thing. When you're bored and you start looking up stuff, this is what happens. You go down a rabbit hole. And I was finding all of this weird stuff on boredom. And I was like, who knew? I didn't know this. So what is boredom? In conventional usage, boredom is an emotional and occasional psychological state experienced when an individual is left without anything in particular to do. This is what Wiki says. Is not interested in their surroundings or feels that a day or period is dull or tedious. That's how they explain it. What was funny, what I didn't know about, was the origins of boredom, because apparently there are some really weird, I guess, debates about where the word boredom came from. And a lot of people are focused on Charles Dickens, the author, actually inventing this word, and that he used it specifically in Bleak House. But then I was looking at stuff with Charles Dickens, and apparently like he created a bunch of words that I didn't even know about.
Really?
Like, yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm like, this is where this is coming from.
I just like the fact that, I just have to say this because I get in a lot of debates with people about this, and not like aggressive debates, but just people get very specific about a word, that this is like, or a thing, that this is what it means. And I have this debate all the time with cardinals. I call them redbirds. But
they are red. That makes sense.
Right. But here's the thing. Any word, like, we're the ones who give it meaning. Like, somebody said that this is a word, and someone said, well, what does that mean? And they gave it a meaning, and it stuck. Isn't that crazy? I just wanted to bring that up because it blows my mind when I think about a word and I think about what like Wiki says it means, or the dictionary.com. Yeah. And you think, oh my God, like literally some person just blurted out this word one day and decided what it meant. And we just decided to go along with it. You know, I don't know. It's just something I've been
how the words
contemplating lately.
how words change over time too.
Well, yeah, and
Like,
then the meanings change. Like what I think one thing means, someone else will think something totally else means, and I think that's kind of cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. So it was funny. Like when I was going through that, I saw this whole debate on Charles Dickens, and I was like, all right, well. And then finally, it came down when I was scrolling all the way down. Everyone's like, all right, maybe he didn't create the word, but he used it for the first time in print to describe what dullness is. And I was like, all right,
yeah, okay.
There it goes, 1852. Because to me, any word that comes through usually comes from another, portion of it anyway. A lot of it is Latin anyway. So I'm sure that there's some kind of meaning that we've been using before boredom wasn't exist, that we used another word. Like you said, there's always things that are associated with it. So it's always interesting. But, one of the things that I noticed when I was looking up were some of the top questions people were asking. And I was like, man, people are actually like typing in what to do when they're bored. It's like, so some of the questions that were coming up was, how do you cure boredom? Can boredom make you crazy? These are the top questions.
It can.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good crazy though.
Yeah, I guess it can make you crazy in a sense if you're stuck in a loop, right?
Well, if you're stuck in a loop, then you're not bored. You're processing something. If you're bored, that's like, to me, bored is the void. And the void to me is nothing soothes you, right? So there's nothing you want to watch on TV. There's nothing that you want to do. You're just everything. You're like, and you're just sitting there and you're like, like I'm bored, but all the things that I think I would normally do, I don't want to do. And you're just kind of in this void. And that's actually like the most magical place you could be. So that's how I see boredom.
Do you think that, when people, because it's weird now that there's this home self-isolation thing is a thing now, obviously. I think it's interesting how the different types of things are coming out while people are bored. Like we're becoming specific types. Like, a lot of people are doing spoofs on like, oh, now we have the new baker. We have the person who's the purger. We have the person
never even heard of this,
learning a new thing, like little things that you can do to stay out of boredom. So
but why do you want to stay out of boredom? Like, I think boredom is when people get bored and they get into that void space. It's like what we were talking about privately there's a spark that's needed, something that's new, that excites you, that gets your blood flowing, that invokes the creative juices. And when you look at all the inventors and all the people like Einstein and Tesla and all of these people, like that space took them into quantum leaps. Like it sparked their greatest genius because they were so bored. They're like, I need to create something that stimulates me and brings my, gets my spirit moving and my blood moving and everything else. So when you are bored, that's the space where new inventions are made and new creations are made, because it sparks this, I have to create something that's going to stimulate me.
Yeah. So I don't consider myself, when people say, oh, are you bored or do that? I always have something to do. So I guess I don't know if I'm just comfortable with it or if it's just like, like there's times where I procrastinate and things don't bring me a lot of joy, when you're not stimulated. So that's just a question of like, are you asking yourself, why am I not stimulated now? Because I don't think most people do that. I think most people are like, I'm so freaking bored, and just complain.
Well, no.
Or
Okay.
say
So
they're not happy.
You're not going to say, oh, I'm not stimulated. Right. Well,
Yeah.
That's something I would say because of where I am. But
right.
When you're bored, right. So okay. So take a child, for example. Let's just take it to the very basics.
Mm-hmm.
When my son is bored, he'll come to me and he'll be like, I'm so bored. And I'm like, well, okay, let's assess our options here. Like, you can do your chores, you can clean your room, like you can do this, you can do that. And he's like, And next thing you know, he's like sitting there and all of a sudden he's just still, like not necessarily physically, but he's just sitting there going, I'm bored. And he's just being in his energy. And next thing you know, he's got this huge creative project and he just went and built the whole Air Force base on Minecraft, and blew my mind. So it's those things, because when you allow, again, look at Buddha, when you allow yourself to be, and see, I have a lot of Buddha in me. So for me, my genius comes in my stillness. So when I allow myself to be in that state of what they call magnetism, which can also, the opposite of magnetism is dullness. So if you're in magnetism, you're in a quantum field. And so when you're in magnetism, you're still, you're just in a quantum field. You're just sitting there and there's nothing, but there's everything. And so when you allow yourself to be still, you allow yourself to open up to receive something. And if you need stimulation to get the creative juices going, maybe for you, it's not being still. Like for some people, it's being active, or it's doing things. So I had the 3 M's for me. There is a fourth one, but I don't know if we want to go beyond PG. So it's meditate, music, movie date, right? So meditate, stillness, music, get your body pumping. Music stimulates people. Movie date. I watched Disney movies all day Saturday, and it sparked all kinds of ideas. And then, the fourth one, I think you know what the fourth one is.
Masturbate.
That's it. All those things, they'll stimulate you and give you some kind of other relief or spark an idea that kind of gets you going somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I feel like when you're bored, you don't want to do your regular stuff. I mean, when you're bored, do you want to do the regular stuff that you have to do?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. You're not you're
like, eh.
Well, I mean, it's weird to me. It's like a fine line of procrastinating. Like so if there's something I don't like to do, and I find it most of the time, it's because it's not bringing me joy. So
yeah.
I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. So I can't say I'm bored. I just don't want to do it. So right. I have a fine line of what determines boredom or what it does, or like I could do something else. I don't have to be sitting in that, right? Like I could do something else. So I always see that option. So I'm very careful. And plus, listen, I'm very careful to say I'm bored, because I know what happens when you're bored.
What happened?
When I used to say when I was a child to my father, when I was bored, he made me divide rocks in the driveway. There is these 2 colored stones. We had yellow rocks. We had gray rocks. Sometimes the yellow rocks got into the gray rocks. You never said you were bored in our house, because you knew where you were going. You're going to those rocks and sit with yourself. Divided rocks. And that has always stuck with me. I'm like, do you really want to divide rocks? And it's that kind of stuff, right? Like, you always have something to do. What's funny is that now we're in isolation. People are like forcing, like, what can I do? Like, okay, we have the gung-ho people who are like, yes, I'm going to create space for myself. I'm going to purge. I'm going to learn a new hobby. Other people are like, oh my gosh, I have time to binge watch everything on Netflix and take advantage of this. Other people are like, I don't know what day it is because I have no schedule anymore. Like, it's huge changes for people. So,
but it also, I mean, I think, I always think that times like this, when we are bored, or when we are asked to sit still, and we're asked to stay in our house and get creative, like I feel like that this period is just so, I mean, the inventions and the creations that are going to come out of this, as someone like me who is a creator, like that's what I was born to be. It excites me, because we think about it, everything that we have, everything that we use, everything you see was created either from need or because somebody was bored and decided to make something. So without boredom, think about it, boredom or need, we wouldn't have a lot of things that we have today. And I'll tell you, the fun things came from the boredom, and the things, the necessities came from, we need this, someone needs to make this. But if you think about that would make boredom a very important thing in our life.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's why some of the inventions that came about in our everyday life, I'm sure, is probably when people were bored or trying to.
Beer pong. Hello, somebody was really bored.
That was an essential. So here was, I mean, that's just an essential thing that have you ever found that when people create stuff too, where you're like, why didn't I think of that? But
I thought of things. So here's an interesting fact on that. Ladder golf. Does anybody have you heard of ladder golf?
Yeah, so I don't call it that because someone else called it something else when I was, when it first came out, and then they didn't, it wasn't sold. Like these people used to make it. Like my friends made it. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know what it was, but we used to call it horse nuts.
My dad and his best friend, like 15 years ago, actually longer than that. It was in like the 90s.
Yeah.
They made it. And
Mhm.
everybody used to come to our camp. And because when I was in San Diego, we used to go to the desert all the time. And people would come to our camp and be like, what is that? And so people started making it. And I swear to you, this happened so many times with my dad. He would have these brilliant ideas and he would create stuff. And I'd be like, why don't you go get a patent on it?
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, that shit would be on the market. And I'd be like, Dad, look, like, hello. But that's the whole thing is like, if you, when people receive those downloads, like if you don't take action on it, someone else will, because it's collective. You're pulling it out. We don't create our own thoughts. We pull them out of the collective. So when
Right.
that arrives to you and you're like, oh, and you don't do anything with it, it's going to show up on the infomercial next week and you're going to be pissed.
So, the other question that we talk about is boredom a sign of intelligence? There is a study by scientists from Florida Gulf Coast University that found people with a high IQ rarely get bored, leading them to spend more time lost in thought. It suggested less intelligent people are more prone to boredom, leading them to do more physical activity as a result. I thought that was kind of interesting. How you utilize your time. Like, are you doing like a physical activity versus like actually using your thoughts where you're actually inventing something like you were just talking about? Like, are you the have a thought and doer, or are you the kind of person that just does stuff to fill time? And how that is. So I thought that was kind of an interesting divide on there, and that actually kind of goes hand in hand what you said, because it's like think about it. Like perfect example, last night, I mean, I could have probably gone to bed and got some sleep, and no, I was doing a physical activity, playing video games, because that was stimulating me. Right? So that kind of stuff. Or was I coming up with a creative idea like ladder ball? you know so it is interesting on what people or how people are utilizing and what's going to come out of this. Like, are people going to be inventing some like crazy ass things, that we're all of a sudden going to be like, this wouldn't have happened if we weren't put into this position
I
where we
feel like
had to
it's
sit at
already
home?
happening. We just don't know about it yet
Yeah.
because it's still in creation mode. But I feel, I mean, I feel like it almost has to, and we already have, actually, if you think about it, because there's companies doing things that they weren't doing before. So what I thought was very interesting is
Mhm.
with the quickness of, oh, okay, we're shutting down, we're going into isolation. Think about it. All these big companies that have been operating the same freaking way for 100 years overnight had to brainstorm and say, okay, we have to pivot on a dime right now, and we have to create a new way to operate our business. And a lot of them did it really well. And I
Mhm.
guarantee you they will never go back to the old way of doing it. And so I think that when we have these kind of things that kind of forces people into critical thinking and using more than their primitive brains and really getting into their heart space and saying, we just have to make shit happen right now and create a new way. This kind of gets all the political and financial and like agendas out of the way, because now they just have to meet the customer's needs and they create something that is actually serving to us, and it's not based upon what's going to make them the most money necessarily. It's about, we have to be able to serve our customers or we're not going to stay alive.
Mhm.
And so they've had to put all the meetings, and we have to kind of do all this crap, and talk about it for 10 years and then decide if we're going to do it. We just have to choose. We just have to take action. And so I've already seen a ton of companies doing things they've never done before and creating new ways to serve their clients. So we've already kind of seen that, but I think we have some really big things coming, because I think over the next 2 years, you guys are going to see new creations that are going to blow your mind in the way that the world's going to change, because it's just, it can't ever, it won't, nothing can ever go back to the way it was ever. It just can't,
No, it's going back to, well, then that's the thing. That's why I have to chuckle a little bit when we say when things get normal again. And I was like, there's no There's no such thing as normal because it doesn't exist from what we had it, from there since things changed so much. It's almost like going back and saying, I want to be this person again. You'll never be able to be that person again because you have different experiences. There's always going to be a
Right.
change that's going in there. So it's kind of, mute
You
of,
just want to be comfortable. That's what you
yeah.
want. So instead of normal, you just want to say, I'm ready to get into that flow state, that comfortable state, that groove again, because that's what it is.
That's coming up a lot with me, with my readings a lot is this feeling of, and it comes up so much in the collective with my readings is the feeling of safety, feeling safe. And, being comfortable is also a form of being safe. So I find that it's coming up more and more where people are trying to, they're being positioned in the sense where they are being shown that they can't find outside safety in everything else, that it comes within.
Yeah.
So it's shocking a lot of people's systems with this. All of a
Which
sudden,
is
it's
what
like,
we needed. I mean,
yeah,
that's what wakes you up when you have your safety ripped away from you.
yeah. So, and yeah, it's coming up so much a lot, and I see it, and I'm more aware of it in that state, and it's really interesting to see how people are, because it's one thing to say that you've been in it, but everybody has a different experience because we're all unique. So it's really eye-opening to be able to watch people grow, and see their own experiences without judging it, or just seeing how people are going through it. Are people liking it? Other people are, embracing it and saying that they trust the universe. Other people are like being in this fold of being negative and expecting other people, or, politically, the economy and everything to, pay them favors, and, playing the blame game. It's weird how, everyone is a little bit different on that
Well, it's the stages of
aspect.
grief because
Mhm.
the first stage of awakening is victim. You wake up and you're like pissed off. Why me? Why is this happening? Why am I feel uncomfortable. This is all uneasy. And the
Mhm.
victim stage is the only way to move beyond it into surrender is to go through the stages of grief, because that's what it is. Anytime you're in victim, you're not letting go. And so there's the stages of grief that come in and you move through it, and you're angry, and then, you're bargaining. And then finally you come into that energy of acceptance, that's when you surrender. But it is interesting to watch, because I'm seeing you're seeing the people who are really angry and really pissed, and we need those people as much as people don't think we do. We need those people. They're right where they need to be. And you have the people that are like super happy and are like, this is like the break I needed. Now I don't ever
Yeah.
want to go back to that life. I've seen those people, which is cool, because they're like, man, like there's something better than the grind. Let me find the thing that lights me up, because I don't have to go grind every day from 9 to 5. I can do something else. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
I
I
agree
do.
with you.
I do find that some people are embracing it and others are not, which is, fine. I'm also it's also funny to see certain people taking on different things. Like I said, like what are people doing with their time? I'm curious though, and I don't have obviously this because I don't have children, but really what's going on, and I would love to get some kids' point of views too, in that sense, where how are kids going to be dealing with this? Because I don't know. What you said with your son? Like, is he hitting boredom a lot more now that he's not in school, but that's taken away, or do you find that he's more comfortable in it
No,
because he's home?
my
I
son's
mean,
a my son's a projector. He's an introvert. He thinks this is the best thing since sliced bread. Like he he does his work in like an hour and a half, all his schoolwork in an hour and a half, and he spends the rest of his day playing.
mhm,
And I think that's the that's the best place for him, because he is mostly right brained, and he is he's very creative, and he needs that he needs to play a lot. In fact, all children need to play a lot. So I think this is actually really good. But I've heard from some of my students that some of them have kids that are really struggling,
mhm.
that are who thrive on connection and interaction and structure, and they don't have that because of whatever reason. And so I think that there are a lot of kids that are struggling, and I think there's a lot of kids that are like, this is the best thing ever. I don't want to go back.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think it's going to change public school for sure, because I know a lot of people that are probably going to There's going to be those parents that are like, thank God the teachers are back, go to school. And then there's going to be the parents and the kids are like, I'm going to embrace homeschool, and go that right. So I think it's a lot going to change, but I feel for the kids that are going out of their mind, because that's hard as a child. You need to play. You need to move your body.
Yeah. Cause it's almost the level of, or, being able to express yourself. And if you're not used to expressing it, all of a sudden you have to be expressing yourself virtually. And this is like the new norm for you. And it's not contact one-on-one. That's like a huge jolt on there. And so I'm just curious what's going to come out, or what kind of support's going to come out there too, for the kids, meaning counseling and so forth. And, what's going to come out this to support the parents as well.
Which is important, because I'll tell you, guys, I'm a big proponent of monkey see, monkey do. You are the example. So if the parents are freaking out at home over this, that's a lot of stress on a child, because even if they don't show it, they're taking that on, and they're inside. They're like, something's not right. And then you have the kids who their safe zone is their school. And that was me as a child. My safe zone was the school. And so for those kids that don't have that, that's really hard too, and we need to, for all the people that are like, stay home and we can't get back to doing things, we have to remember that when there is tons of people that are locked in their homes in very unsafe situations. And so we have to think of everybody, and not just the elderly, or the people who have autoimmune diseases. Like, I was thinking about this yesterday. How unfair is it? And if we're going to talk fair and unfair, and this is all ego talk here, because in spirit, in 5D and above, that is not a thing. But what I want to say is, for the people who take care of themselves, who take supplements, who eat right, who move their body every day, their bodies are very well tuned machines. Why do we have to be locked in our houses to protect the people who have illnesses and who are elderly? And I don't think that. I think that has been a very big, it's not sit right with me. And so, and people say, well, you don't know what it's like to have an autoimmune disease. I actually have an autoimmune disease. I'm not diagnosed with it, but I know that I've healed it through working on my body. And so am I going to be diagnosed with an official mark of it? No, but I still have to take top-notch care of my body because of it. And so I just feel like people should, if we're going to, do this contemplation of it's for the other people, I think we need to think of everybody and just do our part to stay healthy and to, be hygiene and good care of ourselves. Right.
Yeah.
I just think that that's a perspective that no one's really kind of talked about. And it really hit me yesterday. And I thought, because somebody said to me, I take care of my elderly mother, and I don't want to bring it home to her. So everybody else needs to stay home. And I thought, that's a little selfish. Like, I want to make sure that your grandma's healthy or your mother's healthy, but I want to go outside. So let's find a happy medium here, because this tit for tat is not working for me.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just curious too. Like, I mean, we had our first really, really nice day on Saturday out here in Michigan, in the UP. And, I had to go to the store to get some stuff. And I was amazed and shocked with how many people were out in that store. Not that it's crazy, up here in any sense, with what's Lower Michigan's going through, but all I kept thinking was,
that's two different worlds, right? That's way
totally different. Two different worlds. And this happens with a lot of other states. I mean, a lot of states that are big, like even New Jersey, you think about it, it's divided into 3. That's where I'm from. And, South Jersey's obviously have a different, what North Jersey's going through, because they're close to New York. And anyway, point taken is, I saw a lot of people at the store buying whatever, which is, they have the right to do that. But my first thought was, how many people are here because they are going stir crazy and just want to get out of the house and are going, I'm bored. I don't want to be in that anymore. I want to shop and escape and do something that, makes me happy or makes me feel good. How many are actually there, or like, is this going to be a surplus for other things? And, this can go with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of other, the others, we have other states opening up. Now, what's going to happen with the entertainment industry? Are people going to be fletching back because they're so bored they just want to get into it and not think about other stuff? You know, are they not going to be so fearful of corona and want to get back to this norm that they think? Is it going to, it's kind of weird where everything's going to be going. Is it going to be a place like that? I don't know, but it makes me think how many people are actually doing stuff because they feel they have to, absolutely have to, or it's because they're trying to escape something.
Well, I'll tell you, if you go, and I live in the Bible Belt, and I live in a very small town. And when you go to Walmart, and I try to avoid Walmart with all cost, but when you do, or even the grocery store for that matter, it is a congregation in the aisles of people. Hey, how you doing? How's your mama? Blah, blah, blah. And they sit there and they clog up the aisle and they talk. And I'm like, yeah, this is pointless, because it didn't make. And then yesterday in my state, the governor's opening up more retailers. So like the Rosses and those fabulous. Everybody's going to flock there, right? So 50% capacity, fine. And they're opening up child cares, which I thought was interesting, but they won't open gyms and they won't open places to get your hair cut or spas. And like, fine, okay, I understand. But I mean, gyms, like if you can take a child to child care who's going to pick their nose and wipe it on their friend and take it home
Gym's
to
going
their
to be
parents.
just as,
Or you can go to the gym and just make people stay, block off machines. Like, I just feel like I'm not quite sure where their heads are, but in my head, I'm like, this doesn't really make any sense, because everybody, now you're giving them a little bit more freedom. And I agree with opening in stages. That's fine. But the things that they're open, it just,
I know. I have a little bit of right there.
I'm like, I don't understand. Like, how did you come up with this?
I'm sorry, but the last thing I want to do, and I love getting my nails done. And listen, I'm a tarot reader, so I've like an 8-year-old, meaning my inner child 8-year-old, has been painting my nails, and it's been horrific. Okay, and I'm like embarrassed. I'm like embarrassed that I'm like going like this with my cards, going, don't
look at my nails.
All right, like I haven't got my hair, like I've been dyeing my own hair now. My hair's getting long, whatever. But the last place that I want to go when the world opens up is get my nails done and hair thing. Not that I don't support it. It's just like probably the first place that I'm not going to feel that comfortable in. And that's just me personally. And I'm like fascinated that people are like comfortable in this sense, whether it's like,
well, to me, when I get my hair done, it's just me and the salon person.
Yeah.
Right. And there's nobody sitting right next to me. I mean, they may be, if you go to like Fantastic Sam's or something, you might have someone that's a little bit closer to you, but they're still probably at least 6 feet away. Right. But if you can put a bunch of kids in a daycare center and they're under cleaning regulations, why can't it be anywhere else? And let me tell you, I have a friend who lives in Hong Kong, and I'm just going to say this virus is not in Hong Kong. It's not in Hong Kong. And they were the first country when this showed up in China to shut down. They shut everything off, and they have spent all their money cleaning everything so people can live their lives. So she was telling me they bleach the walls and they clean the subways. Like every day they're going through and doing all this so that people can continue to live their lives. And while that may be a little harder on the US scale versus Hong Kong, and I get that, I just think that this was a huge everything. I just want to say everything happens for a reason. And so we're going through this for a reason. We're getting angry for a reason. We're getting impatient for a reason. Like, don't let it be for nothing. Okay. Anger is there to liberate you. When you get angry, it's saying this is not working. It's time to create a way that is working. You know what I mean? And so that is something else to remember. And same when you're bored. It's the same thing when you're bored. Like, obviously, you're sick of sitting there going, I don't know what to do here. So you create something to do, or you go and pleasure yourself and it sparks something to do, and at least you feel better. So, I mean, whatever. But I don't know. I think I got off topic, but it's something that I wanted to say because it's just crazy to me. And not everybody is going to feel safe, like you said. And I don't want to rush out and get my hair done, though I am ready. It's been a year, but I want to go to the gym.
Yeah,
I don't want to go drop $1,000 and buy a treadmill when I've been paying for a gym that I just can't use, So for me, that was my only thing that really got me out of the house, was going to the gym. And so now, after 7 weeks now, I'm like,
well, I mean, I want to. and here's my thing. I feel like I've been in isolation since December because I moved to a completely different state. It was not the same environment for me. It was the dead of winter, lots of snow here. So I have
Right.
literally been housebound since December. Okay. By the time the snow has melted, now I can get out and
She's
everything
like,
is
Taylor.
closed. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like it feels like I'm like a weird apocalypse. Like I just came out. You know what it feels like? What was that movie called? With Brendan Fraser, Blast from the Past, where I just came. I feel like I came
That's
out
like the
of
best movie.
yes, like a bomb shelter, and I'm like living in a like an old like I just don't know what's going on in the world. I don't. I mean, I don't watch a lot of news, and what I do watch news wise is alternative because or live stuff, and that's just what I choose to do.
Yeah, me too.
But I try not to get fixated on certain things. I'm not. I try not to get fear based, but the stuff that makes me the only time I get uncomfortable, and I always got uncomfortable with a lot of people to begin with. So honestly, guys, it's no different for me if you have corona or not. If there's a lot of people in the room, I probably don't want to be near anybody.
Right. Well, and I'll tell
So
you the 6 feet thing, it's funny.
yeah.
I think the 6 feet thing should stay, to be honest, because at least where I am, people would get, I'd be checking out and people are like behind you. You can feel them breathing on your neck. And
Yeah.
you're like, a little boundaries, please. Like, could you move? And
Yeah.
I don't like people in my aura.
I
And
don't
so
either.
your aura is a foot and a half off of you, 360 degrees around. So I'm like, can you back up over there? So I told the lady at Dollar General a couple months ago, or when this first started, about a month ago, when they started putting the little X markers where you're supposed to stand. I said, you should keep that when this is over.
Oh my
Keep
gosh.
the 6 feet rule.
Yeah. There was a woman. Oh my gosh, I gotta find it while you're chit chatting. My friend posted this, and I was dying. This woman went in costume in a plague outfit, and she went to food shopping in a plague outfit for to keep everybody away. I thought it was the most brilliant thing in the world. I gotta find it for you guys.
I've seen some crazy
I can
stuff.
pop it on there, but
I saw a guy with floaties, or not.
oh yeah, what
floaties,
people are doing to keep it.
the noodles, the pool noodles. That's what it
Oh,
was.
on their heads.
No,
The
he
noodle?
had it. He had it around his. Was it on it? Maybe it was on his head, but it was sticking out. I was like, "Oh my god!" And then we have the real brilliant ones. There was a guy I saw yesterday that wore a Ku Klux Klan hood. That was real
What?
good. Yeah, I was like,
Are you
in
kidding
what
me?
in what world did you think that was okay? But he obviously did. And someone took a picture of it and posted it on social media, and it was just like, wow. All right.
I'm just
That's where we're going with this.
was it at I'm not trying
It
to
was
judge
at a
Walmart, but
Walmart.
you always find weird stuff at Walmart. Right?
People
Like,
at Walmart.
I didn't mean to say it, but I was like, was it
Come on.
Walmart?
I think honestly, people do that shit on purpose. I do. I swear to you, they do it with like intention. They want to be the people of Walmart.
I do. I feel that way too. I feel that people will go out of their way
to get attention.
Yeah, just to get attention on there. I agree with you on there.
And here I am with my headphones in, listening to my meditation music so that I can stay inside where I am peaceful. And like with my hood up going, don't talk to me. I'm just going to get through my store and get out. Because if somebody sees me that knows me, they're going to start talking to me. And listen, I love catching up with people, but I'm just like,
right.
Some of the stores, I know in the beginning, it's calmed down now, but in the beginning you'd go to the store and you could feel the fear in people, at least when you're an empath, right? So you're good and you're like, and I'm really good with my boundaries. So I have like this, I could feel it. And I'm just like, this is too much. This is too much. Like I can't. So I started putting music on and doing headphones, and that really worked. And I did like one thing, Harris Teeter, I'm going to give them a shout out here, plays classical music. And let me tell you, classical music or meditation music, all stores should be playing that right now because it calms people's nervous systems, and maybe they will leave the toilet paper on the shelf because I'm running low. They'll calm the fuck down.
Yeah, right. That's so funny. I was trying to see if I could find okay, let me see if I could share the screen if it lets me.
Good morning, peoples.
I wanted to see if I could find this thing because I was laughing my butt off when I saw this. Let me see. Can you see it?
Let me find my glasses. Because this looks,
Look,
what is her? That's like a dress.
it's like,
OMG. Look at that.
look, this is brilliant. I just thought the whole thing was brilliant. She
Did
just
she
went.
have like a photographer walking with her?
I guess she did. I guess she did. She made it with stuff from at home on it. This was posted in Cincinnati.com as an Ohio woman.
It's almost like a bird.
Yeah, it's a plague outfit. Well, I mean, this is the plague mask, and then she made it into like a crow.
Oh my God. Is that what the black crows mean?
Yeah, they're part. That is part of the symbolism.
Well, you
there.
remember when I had the vision of the black crows all scattering from the field, and then I had a slew. They're gone now, but then I had a slew of black crows start showing up in my yard, which I don't usually have.
Well,
So,
and I see a lot of crows now too, and we've discussed that, and I've actually discussed it with my friend Alex too. He sees an owl, which is interesting because that's your bird. And I see crows constantly lately, and I've been documenting when I see it, and it's not in a sense of like, I see a lot of them, but it seems to happen when there's a huge transition coming. So I don't see it as, always death, but it's usually a transformation. So that's what I see it on there.
Yeah, owl is you need to look at the big picture, but also see through the illusion. Owls can see in the dark, and so the owl is my spirit animal, but it literally is. You can see 360. They can spin. You got to think of what the animal can do. So they spin their head 360. They are always up high, looking and observing everything. They're the biggest observers we have, and they can see through the dark. They can see in the dark. And so when an owl shows up, that's a big sign of transformation coming, because you're being asked to look at things in a way that you've never looked at them before.
And you know what? I feel like there's a big transformation coming, not to go back to the stores, but one of the things that I'm having an issue with, because I just don't see them, is the damn signs of where to go on down the aisles.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on the freaking
I'm
signs.
like, do not enter, do that. I'm like, what is happening? I just don't listen to it.
Nobody listens to it. I try because I'm like, all right, but I almost think it's a scam, honestly. We're going to make you walk the whole store.
Yeah.
I'm
a creature of habit. So when I go to a food store, I do a specific route to make sure that I don't miss stuff. So this is really messing up my route. Being forced to go down certain things. And I'm like, this isn't the way I do it. It's taking me twice as long now to shop.
Right. Well, and then so what, and at least in my grocery stores, like if you do go down the wrong aisle, like people give you the look, like the death look, like, oh my God, you are breaking the law. And I'm like,
I know.
Arrest me. Let's do it.
Yeah. This is definitely the new norm, I think, is just, these being more aware of that stuff and having signage and, where you can sit. And, there's going to be points where I think people are going to mess up too. Like, how like you're going to be certain seats apart where they're not going to rip the seats out. So people are going to sit down next to each other, but, it's just going to be out of habit, I think.
But, we have to talk about this I was watching a video yesterday, and it's since been deleted from YouTube, of course, but they made good points. I won't wear a mask because the mask, I understand why they want it's to protect from other people. But the way that the disease is designed, if you have the disease and it's not, it's not bothering you, but you're a carrier of it, let's say, and you put a mask on and you breathe out and it goes airborne, and then you're taking it back in, you're making it worse for yourself. And so it is not good for your health. And they've had several doctors that are beyond certified in this department to talk about it. And they also said when you're isolated in your house, you're not out there exchanging germs the way that we normally do on an everyday basis, so that this is why kids that maybe are isolated in homes and not brought into schools or around other children get sick often, because they don't have any immunity. So we have to be out there exchanging our germs at a reasonable rate so that we can build a good immune system. So when you go into isolation for so long, and for some people, they're taking this really seriously and they're like not leaving their homes. They're having food delivered, groceries delivered. And then you go out, you're going to get sick because you haven't been exposed to anything in 2 months.
Yeah.
And so there's danger in staying home for too long too. And I think that this is the problem here. The only problem we have right now is fear. And so we have the people who are looking to the government or whoever and saying, what do I do now? And then you have people like me who's like, I'm going to do what the F I want. Obviously, I'm going to use my sense about me and have good hygiene and all of that. But it's just it's becoming a shit show, if you ask me.
Yeah. So let me ask you, have you done, I mean, speaking of boredom, doing something new or finding something out, what has you're, I'm interviewing here, Johanna. What are some of the things out of boredom that you have found during all this? Like, have you had any huge insights, or has there been anything that has been like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I went through this?
My life hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
To be honest, it hasn't. I mean, other than I'm irritated that I can't go to the gym and I can't travel. That's been a big thing for me. Over the last few years, I've done a lot of traveling, and I was excited this year to do in-person workshops and meet people in other states, and I can't do that right now. And so I've had to get creative on that front, and so I've done some trial and error. But I mean, honestly, it's been business as usual for me.
Yeah. I can't say my life has changed that much either. But what I have found out, and I don't know if this is just because I'm also in a new environment, I am finding new things that I forgot about that I'm like, oh yeah, I used to I used to love to cook. And then I stopped cooking. I was on my own and everything. So now I find because I didn't realize how much I ate out until everything started closing down. And then I was like, wow, I really got a lot of takeout, or I really, was dependent on a lot of other people. So I'm actually enjoying cooking again and baking. And I was never a baker. So like yesterday I made banana bread. I would have never, like, if you asked me, before if I ever made it, I don't know if I would have made it or taken the time to do it, but I actually enjoyed it. And I found that I did something that was different. So it is kind of interesting how people are utilizing their time during this, what they're doing. And like I said, there's now they're literally typesetting people as to, what you are. And I was laughing.
I never heard it. It's weird. I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah, it's like, are you the social butterfly? Are you doing the Zoom dates? That kind of thing. Are you the binge watcher?
I am bummed that I have not had one single Zoom date. And you know what? I was kind of annoyed because someone posted something and they're like, whoever's been the one that's been checking on you throughout this is like your people. And I'm like, I haven't had anybody check on me. Like, what the hell's going on here? Nobody wants this. I have no Zoom dates and no one's checking on me. And I'm like, well, I'm not really bothered. At the same time, I'm like, well, whatever. I mean, it's not like anything's really changed for me. So I could have been doing them before.
Mine is the opposite in a sense. I mean, I'm having not people like coming out of the woodworks who I haven't talked to in a really long time, which is awesome.
And I find to do now.
Yeah, which is great. And I'm like, I haven't talked to this person in like 10 years. Yeah, let's chat. My thing is and I get frustrated because I'm an introvert as much as that I'm an extrovert person, meaning I do a lot of extrovert stuff. It takes a lot of energy for me to do stuff like this, to want to go out. Like I'm a one-time kind of person. So like give me one activity a day and I'm like, whew, that was a hard day. I went to the gym. And I'm like, and I'm done. And I can put my pajamas on. Like, I don't want to go anywhere after I've been somewhere. And if you have me leave the house more than twice in a day, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm a homebody. Always have been.
I am not a homebody. And I have spent the last couple of years being a homebody. So yeah. I'm an extrovert big time, but I had to go through an introvert period when I was doing a lot of healing.
Yeah.
And so now I am like, really about February is when it hit. And I was just like, I'm done. Like I need to like get in an RV and live like a nomad and just go. Like I need to be out of a house.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. But the other thing I was going to say is how crazy is it that how many people are improving their homes right now?
Uh-huh. I know. I feel really like crappy.
Like Lowe's is like elbow to elbow with people redoing their houses.
Yeah. I don't understand. I don't know if it's because I went through a whole home renovation thing when I was trying to sell my house, and now I'm in a new home and I have work to do, and I've been doing a lot of yard cleanup. So I haven't done a lot of renovations point, but now in the point I'm like, well, I should probably start painting. But I have to paint no matter what. At the
Right.
same time, I feel like everybody's doing that. I know a lot of people are. I mean, like because they have the time, so people are utilizing their time well. I'm not saying that people aren't, it's almost like people are trying to get some of the boring stuff out of the way too.
Yeah, or the
Let's
stuff
try
that
to,
they don't want to do. Like, no,
yeah.
you think about it. All these husbands who have been like, when I have the time, I will do it. And now they have all this time, and the wife's like, well, get to work.
They're
Come on
probably
now.
like, crap, this is not what I wanted to do. And there's no sports.
Right. Well, and sports are coming back though. So
Yeah.
I know NASCAR's coming back. It's going to be weird though to see. Listen. I stopped watching sports a couple I haven't watched sports in almost a year, but when I did, it's just I think it's just everything's going to be so. It's going to be everything's going to be different.
I'm
I don't
curious.
necessarily say it's going to be bad. I'm curious to see how things are going to be done.
Me too, because are they going to be stadiums that are empty and then just basically virtual where you pay a subscription or something like that? I don't know. But the other thing is like how much money are they going to, because they get a lot of money from the spectators, right? So that
Right.
if that doesn't exist anymore, where are they going to get the income? So are they going to do subscriptions, memberships, or are they going to get enough in the advertisements, or the advertisements going to like really raise up? This is the kind of like weird because I'm like such a marketing nerd. I'm like trying to think economically how this is going to
Well,
work for such a huge, like the entertainment industry is like whoosh, taking a cut right now.
Well, in the purse for NASCAR, when you win the purse, right? When you
Mhm.
win and everybody back, everybody gets a percentage. That's based that purse is based upon the ticket sales. At least it's not how it used to be. Well, if nobody's buying tickets to come to the race, where's that money coming from? You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
going to be, it's just, again, people are going to have to pivot on a dime and they're going to have to create new ways. And so, in that way, it's kind of cool, but it's going to be interesting to watch how everything plays out. And we're all getting a big lesson in patience right now.
This is true in so many different levels.
you know,
Yeah. And it's not about being better than anybody when you see people going through the struggles or that. It's just that it's like this level of like, yeah, I've been there. I know how that feels. And having empathy for people who aren't, really used to this or just sitting and having to announce that they are bored. Like, I'm bored. I don't know where, because there's that weird fine line between like boredom and procrastination and like loneliness. Like it all kind of goes all together, right?
yeah.
Like,
Well, procrastination is I have shit to do. I just don't want to do it. And when you're bored, I think it's the same way. It's like there is things you could do, but none of it feels good to you. Nothing feels good in your soul. It just feels like busy work. And I think you have
yeah.
to be in a mood to do busy work.
Well, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff that I got to get done, and I will still go out of my way not to do it during this. I mean, it's like, no, I will find other shit to do before I get this done because I don't feel like doing it. And that's something that I have to deal with and get over it. I find that it's happening more and more with this, where I kind of beat myself up and go, my God, I could have gotten this done, but I chose to do this today. I wasted a day. So now I got to be a lot more kinder to myself. And that's one thing that I am learning with this is that I have to be kind to myself and allow myself to take a break or, not have to work to the bone because, I'm so used to doing that. And, it is teaching us a lot, especially for those of us who are 9-to-5ers. This is about, all of a sudden having to be if you're working from home, it's huge change in environment. There's going to be things that are good out of it. I know, from a lot of people I've talked to, one of the things that they enjoy is that they can get up, they can get some stuff done, but also they can go out for a walk, hang out with their dog for a minute and then come back to like, there's things that are nice about it. And I feel people are more productive on there. And I do feel you're right. I feel like what's going to happen to a lot of these businesses is they're going to see how much production is being done at these home fronts versus an office. And it's like, why are we paying for an office? We
Oh
could
my
probably
God.
do well.
I'm telling you,
So
this is a blessing for that on that front, because there most of the jobs that I have ever done. I mean, when I was in corporate, I was either in real estate or I was in insurance, and all of it could have been done from my home,
yeah,
and I didn't have to commute. So when we look at that, we look at how much less, work is going to have to be done on the roads. You think about how much, less work is done on your car, how much the environment is improved by work at home, how much less overhead the corporations have to pay. And I feel like there's going to be, when I did my energy update, I talked about over the next 18 months, we're going to go through a massive restructuring. And that all started with the flip of the poles or the flip of the nodes yesterday. And everything's going to start being rebalanced, reorganized, restructured. And so that has a lot to do with breakdown and just trying to figure out how to serve people now. And
yeah,
because I mean, just to go to the chiropractor, my chiropractor finally allowed me to come in. I had to get my blood pressure checked. I had to have my temperature taken. It was like this whole thing. And I was like, good Lord. But that's going to be it. Going to the airport, they're probably going to start taking our temperature and start doing all those things. And so those are going to be and I don't think I'll ever get used to that, to be honest.
I won't. I get panicky. I have like white coat syndrome to begin with. So like I can't even get my blood pressure taken without my blood pressure like flying up. So, I always think that even when I'm getting patted down or going through there, I get such anxiety, even going through an airport, just because I'm like, I have to go through something that's going to possibly buzz like the freaking game operation. So
they're shooting you with radiation, or you have to get a pat down, or sometimes both. Right.
Yeah.
And they're taking your temperature and doing all those things. So the thing that went through my mind, which I had to deal with that fear, was, I'm a transmuter. And so my body, I will cough when I'm purging. My body temperature will spike really high. And even though I'm not sick, but I'm transmuting something. And so what if I'm got to go to an event and I'm transmuting something and my temperature spikes and they think I'm running a fever and don't let me get on my flight? Like, those are the things that have gone through my mind. And it's because we don't understand that for doctors, they sure as hell don't understand how intelligent our bodies are. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be an interesting trial and error process that we're going to go through.
Right. So listen, we're got to wrap up the show here, but I do want to touch base on a little bit of what's going on with season 2. Like I said, so this is the premiere, this is it, but we have some really cool guests coming on. And I mean, really, we have some awesome guests lined up, and, Johanna and I have been working hard on this. So we're really excited to have, this is new for us to have a morning show.
And I think we're going to trial and error this.
Yes, this is going to be trial and error. We're going to see how we do. We do have some international guests, so this is going to work out for us in that favor, so that we can do a live show versus, recorded. But next week we have how we're going to be manifesting money with feminine energy. I highly recommend, if you guys are really feeling the slump on manifesting money, to tune into this episode. We have Viona Haven on board, and I'm extremely excited to have her. I have worked with Viona. She was my mentor, on helping me manifest money. So I'm excited to talk about my experience with her, but also the powers of feminine energy. Johanna, you're really in tune with feminine energy too, and you've done a lot of manifesting money workshops and so forth. So I think she's going to be awesome for the show. And then
we have we have Gene Keys in Human Design with Ashley and Bella.
Yes, so we have that coming up,
and I highly recommend you tune into that one, because let me tell you, you guys, and most of you know that Ashley is like a soul sister to me. She has created a free year-long program. And Gene Keys and Human Design are advanced astrology. And it really kind of goes through your body blueprint and helps you understand your soul's path, because that's how that information is. So they're going to be sharing that and giving you guys access to that free year-long program that really takes you deep into your stuff. And it blows my mind how much she's giving. So you guys are going to want to tune into that.
I'm excited because it seems like that's like I'm so nerdy, so I'm into science that I think I'm gonna really enjoy that episode. And I really have not. I mean, I know about gene keys, but I have not really dived into it other than that chart and so forth. So I'm really interested in to hear what they have to say. Other things coming up, we have someone here for fairies, dragons, and elementals that we have lined up. Plant medicine's another one. You guys just make sure that you are subscribed to our channel. We have events that are posting up on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, definitely tune into them, sign up for that. And I always put the actual premiere links and everything usually a day before, so that you guys can have those links and have a reminder set. So we are definitely lined up for some fun stuff, and we have more coming. So like I said, we're going to see how this morning's thing goes. If it doesn't work, then we'll probably switch the time frame. But so far, it was a little bit of a rough start, but I'm awake now, and I think it's because I had coffee and I'm ready to start my day. But like I said, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next week.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.